For this project, we needed to make a system which will allow user to register and sign in, and we'll have to perform some searches based on the data. So as there are 10 operations that we need to perform, I have worked on the first five, which is user registration, user sign in, search users by first or last name, search users by user ID, search all users whose salary is between X and Y. So there is already a sample users table given in the repository. I have just added the password table for the authentication feature. So after we have created the tables in our phpMyAdmin or SQL Server, we can see that it has user ID, first name, last name, salary, age, registered date, sign-in time, and password. And I have also designed the UI for users registration and sign in. Here is the user registration page, and if you click on in here, you'll see the user sign in page. So if I go back and if I go back and register a new user, for example, let the user ID be John. First name is John, last name is Doe, and the salary is like 80,000. Age is 25. Registration day is today, so I'll just pick today. And password is like, for example, I'm giving a simple password. Okay, so if I click on register, it should redirect me back to the searching page. So it has successfully registered the users, and it has uh, redirected me to the dashboard. If I go back to the phpMyAdmin and refresh it, we can see that John Doe is already in the database. And sign in time is none for the first time. So if I go back and try to log in this time, already have an account. The user ID is John, password is password, then sign in, and it redirects me back to the user dashboard. So if I go back to the localhost phpMyAdmin, will see that the sign-in time is now updated, and that's how the sign-in feature works. Let me go back and try a different password. So let me just put another password. If I click sign in, it will say a wrong password. So the authentication is working. And if I sign in again, I can search by first or last name. For the demonstration, let me just add a few new users so that we can demonstrate the search features. So I'll add the new features and show it once it's complete. So I have added three new users. You can see that these are Alice Jones, James Smith, and Mirinda Doe. So these are the new users that I have added. Now I'll do some searching based on that. The first search will be search by first and or last name. Search by first name. If I type in John, it will show me the information that about John, like the first name, last name, salary, age, registration, register age, sign-in time, etc. And I can also search by last name. If I type in Doe, I get two results. The first one is John Doe, and the second one is Miranda Doe. As we can see from our table, there are actually two people with the same last name, so that's what we are getting here. And the query is basically pretty simple. If I go to the actual implementation of the search feature, here we can see that this is, if I go down and to the search user by name, here we can say that we are passing two parameters, and this is just the query base where we are selecting all data from the user. And based on the input, it is optional that you can input either first name or last name, or you can input both. So if there are uh, both you give both inputs, then we are executing the first if statement. If only the first name is given, we are querying based on the first name, and if the last name is given, we are querying based on the last name. If none of them are given, we are just fetching all of the users. So this is the search by first or last name. So let me just clear this out so that I can show you the other queries. So just refreshing will clear this out. And we can also search by user ID. So if I search by John, it will fetch John's John's information from this user ID. And let me just change some ID so that I can show you another steps. For example, if I change the user ID of Mirinda to Mirinda123 and go back to the search dashboard and type in Mirinda123, we'll see that we are fetching the user based on the user ID, and as she never signed in, so it shows never signed in. And another thing I have implemented is the search by salary range. So let's just go back to the table. Here we can say that there are different ranges for the salary. For example, Alice Jones has 50,000, James Smith has 25,000, John Doe has 80,000, and Minnie Doe has 90,000. So if I go back and enter salary 10,000 to 30,000, I should be able to see all of the users who stays in that range. Let me just clear this out so that you can view it. Actually, you don't have to clear this out every time, but as the UI is smaller, because I'm also showing the codes and the uh, outputs at the same time, so I had to just refresh it once again. But I can just do the search and it will show me all the user who have a salary between 10,000 and 30,000. If I increase this range to like 100,000, I'm getting all of the users because all of the salaries are between these ranges. So this is how we can ensure that the search by salary range is working, and the query is pretty simple. If I try to get the actual query, so this is the search by salary range. So there are two parameters, which are mean salary and the max salary, and the basic query is that select all information from users where salary is greater than the mean salary and the salary is less than the maximum salary. Less than or equal or greater than or equal, actually. So this is how we are trying to find out the search by salary range. These are the five tasks that I have completed, like the user registration, sign in, search by first or last name, search by user ID, and search by salary range. So this was in my portion of this project.
Okay, so for my portion of the project, I did the implementation of 6 through 10. So for number 6, it's to search all users whose ages are between X and Y, and that's implemented using the search by age range function here, which takes the parameters min age and max age, and it returns all users where their ages are between that specified range. So if we go here, if we just take a look at the table, we have all the ages of the users here. So let's do a search for ages 18 through 25. And if we look at the table, we can see that there are two users whose ages fall within that range. So the result of this search should return James Smith and John Doe. And if we do the search, we see that yes, we have the correct users listed and their ages do fall within that range. Okay, so number 7 is to search for the users who registered after John registered, and that's going to be users where John is the user ID. So this is done using the function search registered after user, and it takes user ID as a parameter, and the user ID here is set to John. And so if we look at the table here, we can see that John registered on the 30th, and we have two users who registered after that. So we have Lisa Smith and Robert Woods who registered after John. So if we do the search, we can see that yes, those two users are returned as a result of the search. Okay, for number 8, it's to search for users who never signed in. So if we look at our database table, we can see that the only users who have signed in are James and John. And so that is implemented in search never signed in, where it's going to return all the users where the sign-in time is null. So since James and John are the only ones that signed in, the search should return all of the other users. So it should return Alice, Lisa, and Robert as a result of this search. And so yes, we see Alice, Lisa, and Robert who have never signed in. Okay, and now for number 9, it's to search users who registered on the same day that John registered. And so again, this function, search same day as user, takes the user ID as a parameter, and we can see here that that user ID is set to John. And so if we take a look, there don't seem to be any other users who registered the same day as John. So for now, that should not return any results. And if we try to maybe register a user right now and make it the same day as John, then that user should show up. So if I go to the registration page, let me just double check the name of it. So it's going to be registration underscore sign in. And that takes us to the registration page. So let's say I want to register a new user, and I'll say Sam123 is the user ID, and I'll do Sam, last name, let's say Clark. Sam Clark is our new user. Let's give him a salary of 68,000 and an age of 34. And so let's take a look again at the registration date for John. So that's going to be 10/30. So if we register him on the same day, just give him a password. So say Sam456 is his password. Let's register. Okay, so it's warning me. Let me see if that works. So we see users who registered. Yes, so we still see his name here, Sam Clark, who we just registered on the same day as John. So that search worked correctly. And for the last functionality is step 10, return the users who registered today. So today's date is the 31st, so the only one who has registered today is Lisa Smith. So Lisa Smith should be the only user who is returned for this search. And we can see that yes, Lisa Smith is returned here, and we can see that her registered date is the 31st, which matches the current date.